when you're asked to find the slope between 2 points, there are a couple ways that you could do it. One way is that you can plot the points and count the rise and the run and write the slope as a ratio of rise over run. Or you can use the slope formula, which is a lot quicker, especially if the points are really far away and you don't really want to graph them. So in this particular example, you're asked to find the slope between the points -1, 3 and 2, 4. So I will graph them real quick or at least plot them, and show you what it looks like and what it means to find the slope between these points. So -1, 3 is this point right here, and 2, 4 is this point right here. When you're asked to find the slope between them, remember that the letter M is what we use to designate slope, and the slope of a line is the ratio of rise over run. So we can look at this line and say, well, the rise is from one point to the left to one point on the right. How much are we going up? And you can see here that we are going up one box. And then we're going over 1, 2, 3. So this little triangle here is calculating our rise and our run between these 2 points. So my rise is 1, and my run is 3. So when you are looking at it graphically, you can see that my rise again was 1, my run was 3, so my slope is going to be 1/3. Without having to graph these points, we can use the formula for slope as y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And I assure you that this is the same thing as finding the rise over the run. Because up top here where we have y2 minus y1, what we're calculating is the distance traveled here. We're calculating how far we're going up. So we're taking our 4, in this case, which is our second y, so this is my y2, and I'm subtracting my y1. I'm determining how far I'm going from, if I started at 3 and I went to 4, well, the difference between these points, 4 minus 3, is going to be equal to 1, which we saw. Same thing with my run here, and let me erase some of this. My run, we already determined that this is going up 1. My run is just the difference between my x coordinates. So I'm going over 1, 2, 3. I started at -1, so that's my x1, and I'm going to my second coordinate and having my x2 be 2. So just looking at those numbers, if you started at -1 and you had to get to 2, you will have to travel 3 blocks. And we're getting that by taking 2 minus -1, which 2 minus -1 turns out to be 2 plus 1, which is 3. So the slope can be found by plotting the points and looking at the rise and the run, or using this formula here, which is the formula for slope, and this is the one that you will have to memorize, because that's going to be used constantly in the remaining sections in this chapter. And it is the ratio of rise over run. It's just jumping right to the subtraction, the difference between the coordinates.